You might not have realized it, but until last night, Rudy Gobert was shooting 30% from the field. So, in the crucial series-deciding game, how did he go from this to this? Why did the very real struggle to not only finish at the rim, but then hang on to the ball entirely, suddenly overnight turn into expert dexterity and touch? Why was a little defensive pressure so effective in Game 2, but then no problem whatsoever in Game 5? What about this short roll caused such a troubling outcome for him when he made it look so easy as the Wolves took control of the game in the third? There is no question the game can be made simplified for anyone, and in Game 5, Rudy pared it down to catch ball, score ball, avoiding the pivots and turns and bobbles that burned them too often throughout the season. Who knows? Maybe he drank extra espresso before the game, or slept at a Holiday Inn Express the night before. On this night, he was the unexpected X factor that doomed the Lakers to an early fishing trip this offseason. And with his role in the offense, most of the time he scores is because of a major breakdown by the defense. And this possession was no exception. Afraid of Anthony Edwards isolating out top, Reeves leaves the shooter to offer a double team in the middle of the floor. This is only advisable when everyone on defense is on the same page, but Gabe Vincent was trailing his man along the baseline and had no idea it was happening. By the time he realizes he should have been closing to DiVincenzo, LeBron is doing the same thing. Luka could have recognized this and rotated, but just stood there long enough to get dunked on. In a tight game in the third, I'm a little surprised LeBron didn't sniff this out earlier as they brought everyone out above the three-point line, run the pin down for DiVincenzo, and capitalize on the miscommunication between Vincent and Rui. One wanted to switch while the other didn't, and Rudy is dunking before LeBron can even react. While he didn't have as much impact in the box score in the fourth quarter, he came up huge with this block of a LeBron fadeaway at the shot clock buzzer, but then watch the confusion the Lakers have defensively. Rui wanted to guard Rudy, but LeBron is there, so he just randomly runs at the ball. That forced Reeves into a long closeout, which Dante turns into a wide open shot. Watch Luka on the weak side. Being able to get inside position on Rudy here is a skill strictly reserved for the big men of the NBA, so perhaps it was too much to ask, and Rudy times the jump perfectly to extend their tiny lead. And Rudy's outsized impact caused Lakers fans to get upset with JJ Redick's rotations, considering they had a starting big man on their own that was suddenly benched in Game 4, never to return for the rest of the series. The Game 4 no subs in the second half was part of it, but I wonder if this sequence had something to do with it as well. You can see Jaxon Hayes getting very aggressive with his box out on Rudy, which is never a bad thing, and getting called for the foul. He complained a little too much and got a technical foul. And that was the last we saw of Mr. Hayes for the rest of the series. Was JJ upset enough at the tech that he decided that was it? Well, another reason he might have benched him was because of the advanced on-off analytics. At first glance, you'd think it's a no-brainer with the second lowest net rating difference on the team. And we know JJ is an advanced analytics guy, but there are perils to letting these numbers dictate playoff rotations. It didn't take me long to go through his minutes and find plenty of instances where Hayes was making positive impacts that could have ultimately limited the effectiveness of Rudy in Game 5. Hayes was pretty consistent at finding Rudy when the shot went up and putting a body on him to box out. And here's another example where he does something I don't even like to advocate, losing sight of the ball to find your man. But in certain cases like with Gobert, it can work as he takes him out of the play so Reeves can step in for the rebound and get fouled. The lack of Luka defensive intensity is probably well documented at this point, and in Game 5 it was even worse than usual, and when you add to that LeBron's inability to exert energy on this end as well, you would think finding players that overexerted themselves on defense would be a valuable commodity. What is also valuable is all this information you get from my channel, which could help you win when playing Prize Picks, the best place to get real money sports action. On Prize Picks, you can mix and match player projections from different sports, combine your favorite baseball players with players from basketball, hockey, esports, and much more. Use all the knowledge you get from me, like how this Cavs team is just lighting it up from all over, to make your picks and increase your opportunities. The playoffs are almost here, so download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Watch how Hayes jumps out to cover Conley on the pin down, stays in front of him, and then erases any chance of getting the shot off in the lane. On the kickout, we see a common occurrence of Luka getting totally blown by off the dribble by McDaniels, forcing another help by Hayes, And then when Randle tries to drive, yet again he's there to be in the path and help get a deflection that did turn into a foul, but this is incredible defense that won't show up in any metric. Just check how far he roams across the lane to scare Anthony Edwards away from shooting on a blow-by of Austin Reeves. But Luka foolishly helps one pass away off the corner on this drive, allowing an open corner three to Jalen McDaniels. Incredible hustle by Hayes, but this goes down as a negative possession for everyone. Here's another example of great rim protection on Anthony Edwards after Rui gets blown by completely, with perfect verticality. Now, getting the offensive rebound happens, but shouldn't we expect a little more energy from LeBron to at least try to get out there and put a hand up? And aside from the consistently solid defense, he was providing some measure of offensive impact as well. His threat as a roll man after the ball screen is very real, as he's long and tall and can jump well, with some evidence of good touch as he has to use the glass to get it over Rudy. And watch how a strong roll to the rim forces Conley to bump down to him and get in his way. This directly leads to Rui open in the corner to hit the three-pointer. He sets good screens that get Luka space to work with, and here's an example of a short roll and great decision and execution to find the cutter so Rui can finish the layup early in Game 4. And he's one of the only guys on the roster that can fight for offensive rebounds even without good position and tip the ball back out to provide extra possessions. And on this one, the scramble created by his tip out led to good ball movement, with the Lakers never letting the Wolves defense catch up, as Luka uses the threat of the lob to confuse Rudy and open up an easy layup with the left hand. Here's another example of his vertical gravity as Luka starts his drive. Conley is so worried about the pass to Hayes that it opens up another wide open corner three. The effort to tip this out should be commended. It was just bad luck it happened to go to Julius Randle. As a coach, you want guys tipping balls out as much as possible. But unfortunately, this one will make it seem like a bad idea when Conley gets an open three in transition to drop through the net. JJ seemed on edge for much of the series, and it's understandable since there was a ton of pressure on him to perform better than last year's team, while also putting his own stamp on how things get done.
Are you saying that because I'm inexperienced and that was an inexperienced decision that I made? You think I don't talk to my assistants about substitutions every single timeout?
No, I just think there's a lot of coaches lean on their assistants in those situations.
As do I,
There's a lot going
every
on.
single time. That's a weird assumption.
But overplaying Luka and LeBron in second halves of these games proved too much to overcome, as we can see how badly they were outscored in the fourth quarters across the entire series. Shout out to Julius Randle, who played as well as I'd ever seen him in a playoff series in his career. It was great to see him trying to balance his ferocious focus on scoring with some passing, which in turn opened up more scoring opportunities. But I want to spotlight what I think was the X factor in Jaden McDaniels, who upped all his regular season numbers and was key to their entire game plan of attacking Luka mercilessly. Redick turned to his zone to protect Luka early, and you gotta hand it to the Wolves for turning to an offense we all ran back in 6th grade, the 1-3-1. When it swings back, Luka gets beaten way too easily, and watch how Rudy's screens off the backside help to allow McDaniels an easy runway to the basket. In Game 4, they target Luka in the pick and roll so Anthony Edwards can get a turn. He promptly gets right by him into the lane, and they had McDaniels playing the Rudy role in the dunker spot. Rui must help, Vincent is supposed to slide over, that doesn't happen, and it's another dunk. It was clearly a focus to go right at Luka all series long, even when he was on the weak side, as Randle gives up a chance to back down a smaller guy, so McDaniels can get right by Luka for the nice finish at the rim. It got to the point where McDaniels was doing his SGA impersonation, and there didn't seem to be a thing Luka can do if he's going to try and step slide and stay in front. It was just too easy for Edwards to mesmerize Luka with his dribbling technique out front, then get caught on a run and catch into the middle. McDaniels has been making these kind of shots for a few seasons now, and even Jaxon Hayes' long arms can't prevent it. Luka constantly hovers towards the ball when his man is one pass away, which looks like he's exerting defense, but he's really letting his teammates down by being out of position. This is an easy pass for anyone to make, and now Luka is giving up a straight line drive to a professional who expertly euros around Hayes for the reverse. In Game 2, I guess Luka got desperate in transition and tries this ridiculous attempt at drawing a charge, which leaves McDaniels by himself to lay it in while Luka watches from the ground. Here's McDaniels in the right corner, and Luka is guarding him on the weak side in the block. But as soon as Ant drives across the midline towards Luka, Luka must start moving back towards the corner. It's simply too easy for Edwards to dribble at Luka and freeze him before kicking to the corner and McDaniels lacing up another open shot. The beginning of the end happened very early in Game 1 when Luka can't help himself. trying to ineffectively help on a drive with his man 17 feet away by himself in the corner. He simply needs to stop doing this. The Lakers have some soul-searching to do, since there might be some validity to Nico Harrison's insistence that the Mavs traded Luka to upgrade their defense. The Lakers have plenty of guys that can defend well, but if the top two leaders on your team can't do better than what we saw in this series, and if JJ can't manage rotations better as well, then the first round might be as far as they can get for the foreseeable future.